This is Harry Judd for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We're in London. I'm delighted to be joined by Shannon Ryan. I don't know if we're allowed to film in here, but I'm doing it anyway. So, how are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
Not too bad at all, not too bad at all. We're just talking off camera there, and this has come around so quick. Obviously, it seems like yesterday that we're in the hotel and news came out, but I didn't get to speak to you too much afterwards because you were busy with doing other media, etc. But how did you find it when it was announced that all the camp, etc., and the show was cancelled in the end?
Yeah, I think I found it all right, to be honest. I think because it's early on in my career and my weight is so on point, for me, I was like, I get to do it all again. And for me as well, you kind of get to experience it. So it's the same, well, it's not the same story if like an opponent pulls out. I think that's worse because you're having to wait for another show. Whereas this one, it was just a postponement, and we got the date pretty much on the same day as on the, when we was at the O2. So to get that date from Sky and Boxer, I thought that was magnificent. So we already knew what to work towards.
In terms of this fight week, and in terms of yourself, obviously you were on podcasts all week, and obviously Sky Sports News as well. Are you getting more and more used to big media events like this?
Yeah, I quite enjoy it, to be honest. I think it's all part of the game and the sport, and I love giving my opinion and just talking about the sport of boxing, what I want to achieve and what I've done so far, my journey. So yeah, I was on Sky News, which was cool, done the podcast, toe to toe. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that back as well.
You said you could go all the way on the podcast. Just talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, do you know, I truly believe I can become undisputed. I feel like I've got the talent and my consistency with boxing, the coach that I have, Coach G, and the support that I've got around me. The team is incredible, and I do believe with the right communication and sitting down together, we can map out a plan to get me to where I need to get to.
You said, it didn't affect you that much, let's say, with the cancellation, but it must have had some effect to get yourself motivated again, because you boxers peak at certain levels and certain times. So, I mean, you may answer say it was no problem at all, but how did it affect you mentally, the cancellation?
Yeah, it was mentally tough. I do feel like it took me a good 2 weeks to get back to where I am now. But yeah, just 2 weeks, I was still in the gym, but the motivation, like you said, it was lacking a little bit. But then after 2 weeks, I was able to pick that back up and be where I am now.
How much did you eat?
A lot. I was in the gym, but I took a week off eating healthy, just ate what I needed to get myself back up to a good state, and then dropped it back down.
This is a huge event. A statistic that came out, I think it was in the Independent a few days ago, that when Savannah Marshall turned pro in 2017, there was only 7 licensed female British boxers, and now there's over 50, I think. So, how much, in your eyes, is the sport growing? And you're coming in to get into the pro game at the best time you could get into it, really.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect time to be involved in women's boxing. And I think there'll come a day where it's just boxing, not women's boxing or female boxing. When I started in 2018, there wasn't as many females as there is now. There was some, but there wasn't like there is now. And to be on an historic card on Saturday night is incredible, topped by all great females.
Clarissa Shields said the UK is home of female boxing. I think it's the home of boxing in general, but is it? Do you agree with that statement? Yeah,
no, I do believe. I believe boxing here is strong. Across the amateurs, across the pros, there's a lot going on, and obviously next you've got the USA. But yeah, I do believe here is the home of boxing.
It's got more weight and more coverage, this event, as it's gone on, and there's more anticipation, there's more rivalry with certain fighters. Is there much pressure for you on this weekend? This is your home city as well, and obviously you've got the O2 strip on as well, so it must mean a lot personally for you, this fight.
Yeah, it means a lot. I used to work at the O2 in Watford, and then I'm now sponsored by O2, and then to fight there on my third fight is amazing. The pressure, I feel a little bit of pressure, but that's more in terms of I don't want to keep saying I'm new to the game, but technically I am. I started in 2018, and I feel like I've had an amazing journey so far. So it's that type of pressure, kind of being the new person in the world of boxing. But I slowly want to come away from that because I do believe I belong in the sport of boxing.
You said in the podcast you believe that you'd like 3-minute rounds. A lot of people are against it, a lot of people are for it, arguably because it's 2 minutes. Female boxing is so exciting. So what was the decision behind that? Why do you feel that 3 minutes would be beneficial in the female game?
Yeah, I just think the pace of my boxing suits 3 minutes, the style that I have. But as I said in the podcast, I don't think 3 minutes is going to happen unless as a collective as females and we come as one to kind of push for that. But I don't think we'll get to that point anytime soon because 2 minutes suit some females and 3 minutes suit others. So I think we'll look at Katie Taylor, for example. I believe 2 minutes suit her style, but we look at Amanda Serrano. I believe 3 minutes suit her style. So it would take a lot for it to become 3 minutes for everybody.
There are a lot of differences, especially in the amateurs as well. If you're an elite amateur at the men's side of the sport, they don't wear head guards. In the women's section of the sport, they do. So, again, would you like to see that again to be on equal level, or do you think head guards in amateur boxing just should be a full blanket ban anyway, or full for it anyway?
No, I think they should wear head guards. I think the guys should because, yes, it's only 3 threes, but again, the volume of punches is a lot. And they're out pretty much every weekend or every other weekend. So I personally think they should be wearing head guards in the amateurs. And when you get to the pros, that's when you stop the head guards because you're out maybe once every 3 months or depends on how active you are. So, yeah, I'm calling for bringing head guards back in amateur boxing.
Yeah, I mean, moving on then to the main event, it's a huge fight. The more and more it gets closer and the more and more time has passed, has your mind changed on who's your favourite or where you're going with it?
No, my mind stayed the same. The main event and the co-main are going to be incredible, but the decisions that I have on Shields and Michaela to win remains the same. However, I do believe Alicia and Savannah will put on great performances.
Obviously want to get your thoughts on some of the things within boxing. Last week was a bad week for boxing, the failed test by Conor Bennett and perhaps the attempts to try and cover it up, some would argue, just to get your thoughts on that in general, to be fair.
Yeah, obviously I don't really want to give too much on it. I don't know the facts, I've just seen what's online. However, I do believe the British Board of Control done the right decision by cancelling the whole show. But what I can say is I do feel for the undercard because I've gone through a postponement of having to train for 5 weeks. However, for them, some are out in the next 4 weeks, some are out back in December. So that's a whole 3 months rather than 5 weeks. So, yeah, tough week, and yeah, I feel for them all.
Yeah, and obviously you don't want to give too much away, and I totally understand that. There's been a lot in terms of testing within boxing. Have you been tested for this fight, and which body's been testing you? That's what I want to really know.
Yeah, no, it would be under UCAD, the British Boxing Board of Control. But yeah, for this one, I've not been tested. But if that was to happen, I'm all for it and would be fine with it.
I know you've got to shoot off. I don't know if your coffee's ready or not, but it's overtaking your way. But again, thank you for talking to Boxing Social, and look forward to seeing you at the press conference today.
Brilliant, thank you.
Cheers, Shannon.
I hurt all the girls that I fight, but I will come out victorious.
Not ticking until I become the undisputed middleweight champion of the world.
This is another moment that my hand would be risen. I've fully prepared myself for a war.